Welcome to our podcast. It's our next episode, and I'm super excited to have Cathy Derksen on our podcast as a guest today. I'm going to read about Cathy. It's quite a lot of exciting things. I cannot even memorize it. Cathy is a wealth and success coach, international speaker, multi-time Amazon #1 and best-selling author, dedicated, empowering women to create lives filled with genuine joy and fulfillment. And she is the founder of Inspire Tenacity Global Solution, a company that provides online resources to assist women in discovering their deeper calling by adjusting their mindset and focus to reach their goals. And Cathy, your mission is support women in rediscovering their brilliance and stepping into new possibilities in their life. I think it's very, very unique. I'm super pumped to have you over in this podcast, and I would like to hear your story. Basically, our show is all about inspiring other people, inspiring business owners, inspiring women. There's so many women who want to start something, hesitating, and they don't know how to start, where to start. So tell us your journey. How did you start it? How did you had this idea?
Yes, no, it's definitely been a journey, that is for sure. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago if I was going to be doing the work that I'm doing now, I probably would have laughed at you because now has really almost nothing to do with what I've done in my previous
Yeah, you were a financial
chapters in my
advisor,
life.
right?
Yeah, well, my original career, I worked in medical genetics. So I worked in medical genetics for about 25 years.
Wow.
And then I hit that time in life when I knew that I needed to find a different direction. And part of it was that the working environment was toxic, but then I did that thinking of what life and women really and help them really make a real change in their life. And that's when I went into financial planning because I thought, well, that's an area a lot of women feel challenged with. So I will do that. But of course, that industry is so confined by all the rules and regulations, and working in big business, you're also confined by what they'll let you say or what you're allowed to work on. And so I did that for about 10 years. And again, realized, no, this is not the right answer for what I really want to do with my life. And that's when I left that behind and started my business, Inspired Tenacity. And really, yes, the big focus of my work is helping especially midlife women. And I would say that's anyone 40 to 70 who, has hit that time in life when they're realizing there has to be something else. There's something else I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And because I find so many women are feeling stuck in this age. And I think in general, our culture has told us that, around 50 years old, 60 years old, that we're old and obsolete and nobody really needs us anymore.
Yeah.
And so I'm here to get that changed.
And where I'm coming from, after you are 40, literally there's zero opportunities for you. And at the time when my mom was like 40 something, she couldn't even find a job. And I did open small business at the time just so my mom would have a job
Oh,
because
wow.
it's like, they are trying to hire new young people. And once you're 40, you kind of, I'm turning 40 this year, and I still feel like there is lots of things ahead of me.
Yes.
And still lots of things I could do. And I get really inspired by seeing some business owners and women who even start in their 60s. And I feel like, wow, it's so cool because in my country where I am from, if you're 60 done, they don't do anything. That's because
Oh, exactly.
society, I think the society and the environment around kind of dictate you this culture. I think it's changing, gonna change now, but in US is more advanced. Back in Russia, where I am from, it's still like, if you're 60, you kind of, just retired, and very few women who actually they do what you do and they still follow their dreams. They still live the full life. But most of them, majority, they kind of already consider to be, done.
Well, exactly, exactly. And that worked back when life expectancy was only 70. And that maybe after 60, 65, you did just kind of putter around for the next few years. But now we have to plan to live into our 90s or hundreds. And so, we really need to be starting a whole new chapter of something that, keeps our brain busy, keeps us social, keeps us feeling like there's a reason why we're getting up in the morning. And that's the reason why I'm really focused on supporting midlife women. And one of the things that I do to really help women step into these new possibilities is creating multi-author books. So like the one that you're in with me. And
Yeah.
so basically creating an opportunity for women to share their story, share their journey, their struggles, their triumphs, what they've been through, because I think women really learn from each other and hearing each other's stories. And so it's really fun that I, bring together groups of women from around the world. Each woman writes one chapter based on the theme of the book. And we release that. We publish it mainly through Amazon. We hit international bestseller status. So it really does become almost a way of just sparking that new idea that, wow, if I can do this, what else can I do?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super. I'm super pumped as well that we're going to launch the book. And whoever is watching us or listening, stay tuned because it's going to be super excited. Actually, it's really interesting. I saw a dream once that I wrote a book. And then I woke up, I was thinking, what the hell do I write about? Like, nothing to say, And then it's really strange that few years later, there's some opportunities kind of dropped, on me to do the chapter in a book. And I'm like, wow, this is like, I always feel like everything happens for a reason and we meet people for a reason. I believe in spiritual word. And I feel like whoever we meet is for a reason. And, and then this book happened and I'm like, wow, I'm so looking forward for it to published. And I'm so looking forward to start sharing it with other women as well because my story and where I'm coming from is could be a little bit different to so many women who were raised in US. It's totally different environment, and there's some other women, right, who's from Africa or from other city, other
Yes.
countries, which is
Yes.
quite awesome. And Cathy, I think you have also, so you created some sort of like a platform to support women with their inspiring stories, podcasts, books, right? Can you just explain a little bit more? Um, so if I come to you, how does this work? Is it like a coaching? Is it like what's the process?
Yes, I would say there's definitely a coaching component to it because as we're creating the books, I'm available to all of the authors to meet one-on-one and really work out their story, develop their chapter, and like you mentioned as well, I think a lot of women do come into this with this idea where no one wants to hear my story. There's nothing interesting about what I've done that, it's all been done before. And then we start talking about, what their journey has been, what were those highlights and those ups and downs in their life, and really helping them kind of narrow in on what have been those big things that they've done, what have been those experiences that would actually help other women to hear that journey. So whether it's, like with you, moving to different countries around the world or changing careers, going through a divorce, going through a loss, there's, really all of us in our life have gone through some major turning points.
Yeah,
And and those often create, challenges and struggles. And, again, for if you can share that journey in a way that helps the reader to think, well, wow, if she got through that, I can get through this. And so it really becomes a way of supporting everybody in the group and all of everyone around the world who might read that book.
Yeah. Also, I would put my 50 cents when it comes to marketing, because once you are in a book, it can also work for you as the lead magnet. It also works for you as a SEO for search engine optimizations. When somebody's searching for your name or your business, they could find you on Google. So it's also kind of a win-win situation, right? Where you can actually help other women who are in a similar situation or who is hesitating about starting something, you're too scared or too, there's so many women, even I personally know, they just, they're housewife, they have kids, and they want to do more, but they're kind of scared because that's all they done, just taking care of kids. I always feel like fascinated because I cannot be stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, oh my God, how do they do this? This is the hardest job ever. I'd like to
It's the hardest job, yes.
But there's so many
I used to
women
go to work for my days off.
that yeah, when I have my first daughter, I started work 1 week after I had her. And when I was going to office, I felt like, oh, wow, it's like actually I'm relaxing. You know what I mean? But it's just me personally. It was my choice because I found it so hard. I probably find easy way to escape, but it's so hard. And what inspired you to focus on empowering? Did you had maybe some personal things in your life where you feel like you want to help other women? Maybe you went through something, and then because changing from your career, which you have for so many years, to this is it's a big change.
Oh, yes. And I would say it was when I was going through a divorce. And, I was living at, how we could just kind of live life and often aren't really aware of the negative things around us. And it really, I guess it was around 2008 when it just hit me and I realized that I was living in a very toxic, abusive marriage. And I realized how it was impacting my kids as well, because of course they're also impacted by the family situation. And I think that's really was the turning point for me when I realized I have to do something. It's up to me to protect them. It's up to me to be the role model for them, that, this is not what a marriage should look like. This is not what a family situation should look like. And so to me, that was really what sparked all of the changes that I've gone through. This idea that it's up to me, and, recognizing you're supported and there's people around you that can help you. But you have to make that decision. You have to recognize in your own life, yes, I need to change this.
Yeah. And it's very tough decision. And I'm sure probably 70% of women, they are in the situations you were and they're too scared to change anything. And they continue in that, environment just because they're not confident enough to go and move. And I'm personally seeing some of even friends I have, personally seeing some stuff like this. And, nobody can do it, only them. What we could do is only to support, right?
Exactly, exactly.
What's interesting, any of my friends who's gone through divorce, and even I did, it's my second marriage as well. Um, I feel like things change for better, always. It's always work in
Yes,
favor.
yes.
So women who say divorce and sad, I feel like, oh, you will see later. It actually works in your favor later.
Yes, and it's, often not easy, but definitely worth the challenge.
Yeah. And I would like to speak more. I think you have this upcoming book. Is it upcoming or it's already launched? Grit and Tenacity? No?
That one launched on December 17th.
Ah, okay. And it was transforming leadership, right? It's about
Yeah,
transforming leadership. Could you
yes.
just elaborate a little bit more? We will place
Sure.
links below to all your books if anybody is interested or anybody who feel like who need to get inspired or need like someone to push you to go to the next step, so you know
Right.
where to find good resources. But
Mhm.
it's really interesting because there's not so many people who do what you do, and it's really, I feel like it's really cool. So could you just elaborate a little bit more about that book? And I think you're number one author as well.
Yes, sure. And actually, in December, I launched two different books on women in leadership. So one was focused on women who work in science and tech, and the other one was focused on women that are leaders in business and community. And so really both of those books are focused on sharing. Again, the book is filled with 20 stories of women from around the world who are each stepping into leadership in their own way. And so each chapter really sharing journey has been what she's learned about leadership and how she's been stepping into leadership and supporting other women to do the same. So it's I think it's really important to really shine the light on how women are changing leadership.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, it's I think what you do is really great. And what do you find like the most rewarding part of what you do?
Um, I would say it is that spark in the eye of the women, when first of all, when they really do start putting their story on paper and they realize give themselves credit for what they really have come through. But then when we get to the point that we're actually launching the book and they're selling the book and they've got the book in their hand, that excitement about, wow, look what I did. And with each book, with the 20 women involved in it, they have opportunities to meet each other, connect with each other, collaborate. So it really becomes a little community,
Yeah,
and it's a celebration of, wow, look what we did together.
yeah. And why do you think the storytelling is become like so it's like a powerful tool for transformation, right? It is. Why do you think it is?
Well, again, going back to the fact that I think we learn from stories. We learn from each other's examples. And I think that's part of the real challenge in doing something completely different in your life. If we don't see other women doing similar things or making big changes, then we feel like, well, that's not what I'm supposed to do. That's not okay. Whereas the more we do see women stepping into completely different parts of life, stepping into leadership, stepping into really, making a difference, creating an impact, I think it really does help other women to give themselves that permission to say, you know what, I can do that too. And it's okay.
Yeah, it's a good saying. Allow yourself to do it. Yeah, because we restricting ourselves inside of our mind and inside like what we do. There's so many restrictions. I personally gone through so many restrictions in my head, which I would not think is even possible, but you just need to allow yourself. Um, yeah, it's really cool. And okay, so what advice you would give to someone who want to start a book but they don't know where to begin? Well, I am here as well.
I would say definitely reach out to people who have published books, people that have been in books, and get that better understanding of what's involved. I think part of it too is really fine-tuning your plans. Like really, what is your intention for the book? Like, why do you want to do this? What is it you really want to share in this book? And what's the bigger picture of what you want to do with this book? For some women, it's about sharing their story, and they really only want to share it with their family and friends. And so it's not a big deal to do all this marketing and have a bestseller. It's really just about putting their story on paper. And as you mentioned, for those of us who are entrepreneurs, it's a huge value to be able to be a best-selling author, to have that visibility, to have all the different parts of your marketing that you can use with the book. So definitely talk to other people, see what they've done before, see what the options are. And that's the other side of it, because there is the old traditional book publishing model that I would say has become quite obsolete, because you literally are having to go and pitch your story and really beg them to take you on as one of their authors, whereas there's so many other ways of doing it. My system I would call a hybrid. So I have a publishing team that I work with that does a professional job of publishing, but it's a pay to play, I guess you would say. So I'm paying for their services to get the book published and marketed, and then creating the book versus the old system of they might take it on and help you with those things. So I would say those are the first things I would do if you're interested is talk to people that have done it, understand your priorities and what the options are. And but definitely the whole thing of going back to community and who can help me, who
Yeah.
can guide me.
Yeah.
Just
I
don't do it alone.
Yeah, I always advise to even like to any business owners who do lots of mistakes once they start their journey, like, there is a shortcut because time and money you spend in learning from your own mistake when you can just go to a professional and do the shortcut. Yes, it may cost you some money at the start, but then actually you're probably saving money because if you do it yourself, you're probably ending up spending more
Yes.
without even knowing, what's going on and how to do that. That's really it's really cool to have someone like you. I'm always wondering about books. Do people actually make money out of these books by selling them, or it's more for, community for what's your
I, I would say the main ROI is more the visibility. So
Mhm.
the impact that it has on your business in all of your profiles, you can put that you are an international best-selling author. Being an author definitely lifts your credibility and authority as an entrepreneur. So to me, the real value there is what you make of it. And especially if you're interested in getting into speaking opportunities, to have a book and be an author actually does put you into a different category when a lot of these places are looking for speakers. So the reality is, no, people do not make a lot of money by selling the actual books. In most cases, it's maybe $1 to $5 that you make from the sale of a book.
Yeah. I
And
think
so when
it's a
you
long-term game, right? It's more like investing in the long term because it's same as SEO. I mean, for those who don't know search engine optimizations, you're investing on doing, social media, you're investing in writing blogs, but you don't get results tomorrow. It may take a year, it may take two, and yeah. But
and
then
it's all about what you put into it. So if you just publish it and you sit it on the shelf and wait for it to do something, that's not how it works. You have to incorporate it into your marketing. You have to talk about it. You have to share it with people. You have to put it on your website. You have to, if that's what you want to do with the book, is really build your business, build your community. And that's one of the other great things about these books, the multi-author books, where you've got 20 or more people all over the world participating. Now, when we get to marketing, you have 20 communities who are all seeing the book and hearing about it and now getting your chapter and getting exposed to you. So just in that part alone, you are amplifying your visibility in a big way.
yeah, that's true. And do you have any book yourself that kind of impacted your life? Can you do any recommendations?
Oh, I've got so many books that I love. And I would say one of my favorite authors is Brene Brown. And I've got all of her books on paper and on Audible. And a lot of other books that are focused on mindset, building business, doing things differently. But definitely, I would say the Brene Brown books have been turning points in my life. And of course, all of my books, people should recommend those.
And if you could give a piece of advice for every woman who would be listening, what it would be?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, one of my favorite quotes I always love to use is don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. And to me, that just sums it up so beautifully that if we're all looking for and doing something that really makes us come alive and makes us feel valued and that we're contributing, that is what is going to shift the world. That's what's really going to shift your life, your family. And I always love to say there's a ripple effect of the impact that comes from that kind of energy.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And before we end our episode, of course, I would like to speak about our book. Shall we just uncover a little bit, kind of? I'm just so looking forward for it to be published. I also seen that there's going to be, I briefly saw your post, I think in LinkedIn, about helping to someone. Sorry, I didn't read it probably fully, but could you elaborate a little bit more? Because it's also causing, I mean, it's a good cause, I think, what we're going
Yes,
is amazing.
yes, yes. So our book is called Lead Her Ship Unveiled. Again, it's 20 women from all over the world sharing their stories of stepping into leadership, what they're doing to change and make impact in the world. And that book will be launching on February 7th. We'll also have a summit leading up to it. So the authors in the book will have the opportunity to do speaking and tell you more about their own story and journey. And yes, with all of my books, what we do with all the Amazon proceeds is we choose a nonprofit group, and all of the Amazon proceeds go to that nonprofit group. And the one that we are using for this book, yes, let me just go back to my message here where I can see all the info that I put in there. And it is called, one second, Eluma Girls. And it's based, they're helping women, or I guess mainly girls, in Africa. And let me just get here to the blurb. Da, 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 da. And they are making meaningful difference in child brides in developing countries to be giving them a voice, a choice, and a bank account. So the group is they do sewing projects combined with action and advocacy, which is life-changing for the young girls who are sold into child marriage. So this is a group that's focused on helping girls in Africa to get out of bad situations and to have that education and confidence and to know there is a different life and that there is a community supporting them.
Yeah, this is really brilliant. And to be honest, when you were talking about this, like child marriage, I have like goosebumps on my skin because obviously for me, I'm mother of two girls and I cannot really even think about this type of thing. So it's really,
Yes, yes.
Can we post this under this podcast, the link, just if anybody interested to read?
Yes, yeah, sure, that'd be great.
Okay, sounds awesome. I am super, thankful for you to join this podcast. I am also very new at podcasting. I'm very new at speaking. So for me, still kind of learning process. But I hope someone would watch it and it would help someone. If you, don't know, you want to start a book, you know where to start. You could go to the links below and see where you can find Cathy. She can help you to get all this started. And you have any like communities or links we could share?
And that book will be
I
launched.
don't know if you use any, whatever you use, we will provide link here.
Yes, as far as social media goes, LinkedIn is my main place that I hang out, so find me there. And my website is inspiredtenacity.com. And on that site, you'll find lists of my previous books that are already launched, and you can go to Amazon and pick those up, as well as a list of my current projects. So right now I've got, I think, 4 or 5 different projects. Those are books that are bringing women in from around the world to contribute their chapter. One is focused on grief. Another is Midlife Reimagined, Inspired Metamorphosis. I've got another book for women in science and tech. So always lots of different options. So if you're interested in becoming an author and writing one chapter in one of these multi-author books, I've got choices. So definitely check out my website.
Sounds awesome. Thanks so much. Thank you for this podcast. And I see you again very soon. And stay tuned for our book announcement. Thank you.